it's Di from PoshUpCycle in Melbourne. I have a customer we picked up a table from yesterday and we're going to give it an upcycle. So as you can see from the first picture, I've already started to do the upcycle. But yes, it comes with its own little problems and we'll work our way through them and hopefully make it beautiful. See you after the intro. So it's an extendable table. Started off by thinking, well, because it's extendable, I'll have a good look round of it. We'll be able to have a look underside. So flipped over the middle section as you do and put it in place. And while doing that, I thought, oh, this looks like solid wood. I'm going to have no problem sanding this. However, there was a lot of applications of paint and everything on top. So I decided to use the heat gun, and then I done a little section, and I then got a 100 grit and I started sanding off to see what the grain was like underneath. However, when I gone round the table and looked at another section, there was a little piece missing underneath, and discovered that it was 1.5 mil wood veneer. So as everybody knows, you can't do a lot of sanding on that. You've got to be extra careful. We had to be extra careful with the heat gun and the blade. We can't get any dints or any scratches in there. So started on the middle section and thought, yep, this looks all right. I think I can do this for the customer, because normally we don't touch anything that's been previously painted at all, because it could just turn out to be a complete nightmare and too much of your time. So this was coming off okay. So let's see how we go before we run into problems. So here we are, guys. I just thought I'd show you how we're doing this. We need to be extra careful here because, as I said, this is just a 1.5 to 2 mil wood grain. So yeah, let's get the heat gun going. And when we spray, we need to make sure we don't gouge in, because you'll not be able to go down and sand it out. So we've got to be extra careful. So it's very light movements. I'm just being very patient and we'll get a good finish on the table. So this is an Ozito gun. It comes in a case, and I think I only paid about $44 for it from Bunnings. And done a few house rentals in the UK, and I had a heat gun which I think I paid probably about $30 for. It was a Bosch one. Stripped the wood in the whole house, skirting boards, doors, you name it, and it still keeps on going. So not what can happen with these. Once you've got it, that's it. You've got a heat gun for life. The reason I haven't got my Bosch one is because my father borrowed it and borrowed it and didn't get it back, and it's one of them things where they're that cheap you can just go and get yourself another one. I didn't need it anymore until I started doing furniture, so treat myself from Bunnings to the Ozito one. I like this one because it came in a carry case and it's easy to store. So now you get the gist of it. I'm going to go and try and burn this off. Maybe take me a couple hours, 2-3 hours. So we'll see when it's done. You guessed it from those 2 pictures. I started going around the lip because there was a little lip and I wanted to get in the crevice, so I started to burn around the lip, and I got round the arch on the top of the table and found out that there was a little bit of sanding on there. The little notch wasn't quite there and it wasn't quite burning off, so it was down to the particular board inside, so there was no coating on there, so obviously stopped that and used a little bit of sandpaper. And then I started doing the burn with a heat gun from the middle of the section all the way to the end. And when I got to the end, here was this quite large piece with a missing veneer, and you know, now you've invested sort of nearly 2 hours burning all that off, and it's sort of like, right, now we got to try and save the table, or do I just keep going around the lip to see if there's any more sections like that? So yes, I started going around the lip a bit more, had a good look at the table and decided that that just about looked as though it was the only piece of damage on the table, the missing veneer. So coffee time. Went and had a coffee, had a think, and came back and started to see if I could do a repair, and let's see how it goes. So here we are with this table, and I've got these furniture touch-up markers. They were cheap, they were off eBay. And basically this is the corner of the table, and we've got this section here. And basically what I did is I coloured it in. So made sure I coloured it in properly, and off I went. That was it, coloured it in. And it dried really light, it dried the light colour of the table. So once that was coloured in, I took a different marker and I drew some wood veneer. I followed the lines with a pencil on the wood, and then basically, little bit by little bit, very small, I just kept doing the veneer, copying the veneer. So this took me about, I don't know, 40 minutes till I got on the corner of the table, till I got this wood veneer all coming in, and I just basically kept going and then stood back and thought, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So the next problem is, now we've got the veneer going, I put filler in as well, so we put some filler in to try and smooth it out. We give it a little sand, then we started doing this. So we've got the filler in there, we've got the veneer going that we've creatively drawn in, and now we've got to get the lime wash to take. And yeah, haven't tried this before, so let's give it a go and see what happened. To be working. Let's just it needs a bit more grey, so I normally put it on with a cloth, but we're just going to put it on with a brush here because I don't want to get it into where the other grain stops, which is about there. I just want some extra coats on this one with it being white. I want to try to get it to blend in. Outside at the moment, so it's going to dry quick. I've got to be careful because I don't want to get it on the concrete, which I've got a couple of drops already. So I'm going to have to get the turps out. So this is big. Sand some of this off later. We just want to try and get as much as we can on there to see if it'll work. And we'll sand and come back and do it again. Fingers crossed. We'll see how that dries. So it got a coat of grey lime wash, and the veneer showed through a little bit, not as much as I wanted. It was a lot lighter than the table, so there's only one way getting around it. That was grey lime wash the whole section of that table. Put a more grey lime wash on the part that was white. I used a brush on that part, and so I didn't go too far over the other side of the table. That was okay. And most of my creative drawing just disappeared. So I was back to square one. So I decided, right, the grey lime wash is just on dry, not quite dry. I thought, right, now that it's still tacky, not quite dry, I'm going to do the wood grain again. So I sat down for another 35 minutes and put some more wood grain over the top of the grey lime wash, so it actually adhered to the grey lime wash, and you know, it wasn't going to come off. So I done that, and I give it an hour to dry, and then I put another little bit of grey lime wash over the top, and so far it's blended in quite nicely. As you can see a few little bits of white on this picture, but that was because there was a few more little indents, and I needed some more wood filler in there, just to even out the table so it looked nice. I wasn't happy that you could still see where it needed filler, so I put some more filler in, and the whole section of that table is due another grey lime wash, and fingers crossed that'll have blended in nicely with a little sand first, and then we'll show you a picture tomorrow because I'm going to leave it overnight to dry.